After 3 years of dating, my usually reserved fiancé finally proposed to me. On the day we were supposed to get our marriage license, I waited happily outside the county's office for 12 hours, but he never showed up. It wasn't until I saw my best friend's social media post. Someone came to comfort me as soon as he heard my wedding was cancelled. Thank you for always waiting for me to turn around. In the photo of their fingers intertwined, I saw that familiar ring tattoo. My fiancé quickly replied, "Sweetheart, it's always been you." In that instant, it dawned on me, the day my fiancé proposed was the exact same day my best friend announced her wedding date. The biting cold wind smudged my perfectly applied makeup. My phone was already freezing and about to shut down in the bitter cold. But no call ever came. I had stood outside the county's office all day long. I hadn't eaten a single bite of food or drunk a drop of water. Even when my phone died, I hadn't borrowed a portable charger, even though the mall was right across the street. I was afraid he would arrive and I wouldn't be there. I was afraid that one delay would turn into another year. A friend sent me a notification to check a social media post. I hadn't intended to open it, but my hands were so frozen stiff that I accidentally tapped on it. With that one glance, my blood seemed to freeze in my veins. Someone came to comfort me as soon as he heard my wedding was cancelled. Thank you for always waiting for me to turn around. In the photo of their fingers intertwined, I saw that familiar ring tattoo. My best friend was the one who posted it on social media. It suddenly hit me. The day Ethan proposed to me was the very day my best friend officially announced her wedding date. So that's how it was. I suddenly felt like a clown, toyed with by the two people I was closest to. Completely unaware, my phone vibrated. It was Ethan calling. "Forgot to tell you. Something came up today, so I can't make it. Let's do it another day. Gotta go. I'm a bit busy." "Busy?" I gave a bitter laugh. "Busy doing what? Busy on a date with my dear best friend?" Silence stretched on the other end of the line. After a moment, Chloe's voice came through the phone. "Grace, I'm so sorry. I never told you, but I'm the woman Ethan truly loves. But please don't misunderstand. Ethan just came to help me out today. He didn't mean to stand you up. Really, I'm so sorry. You can yell at me all you want, but please, don't argue with Ethan. You don't need to explain yourself to her so submissively. It's not a big deal anyway. The clerk's office? You can go any day. Don't blame yourself anymore." Ethan must have been holding Chloe in his arms. I could hear Chloe's muffled sobs. Ethan's comforting voice was so gentle. In 3 years, he had never spoken to me with that kind of gentleness. I suddenly felt utterly disgusted. "Ethan, you've been indoors so long. You probably forgot the temperature today, didn't you? I waited for you outside the county's office all day. My entire body is stiff from the cold, and you're telling me it's no big deal, that you just forgot?" Ethan sounded impatient. I said I'm sorry. "Okay, I honestly just forgot." I ignored him and continued. "And, you don't need to put on an act here. We've known each other for years. The moment you open your mouth, I know what you're thinking. If you were truly sorry, how could you coincidentally ask Ethan for help on the very day you knew we were getting our marriage license? And then coincidentally both of you forgot about me. And then even more coincidentally posted that photo of your intertwined fingers, specifically to make sure I saw it? You want to keep Kevin on one string and Ethan on another. Fine, I'll let you have them. But from now on, stop dumping your unwanted trash on me." Ethan's furious voice boomed through the receiver. "Grace, you're going too far. How can you insult Chloe like that? She's not the kind of person you're making her out to be. Apologize to her right now." I sneered. "Ethan, let's break up." "Break up? Fine. But don't come pleading me to get back together like you always do. You've pulled this trick too many times. I'm sick of it even if you're not. Before, I might have forgiven you for Chloe's sake. But this time, unless you can beg Chloe for her forgiveness. Otherwise, forget about the wedding." My heart was pierced with pain, half from Ethan and Chloe's betrayal and cruelty, and half from my own weakness. A sob caught in my throat, and I immediately hung up the phone. I wanted to preserve my last shred of dignity in front of them. I walked slowly down the street. The night's cold wind raged even fiercer, cutting into my flesh like tiny knives with each gust. I trembled with pain. Unwittingly, I found myself downstairs from the apartment Ethan and I had rented together. The lights weren't on. Ethan was probably still with Chloe. My throbbing head, chilled by the wind, began to race with wild thoughts. What were they doing right now, at this hour? Were they having dinner together, snuggled up watching TV, or perhaps engaging in some intimate activities? The thought made me raise my hand and slap myself. "Grace, You need to wake up. He's just a scumbag. It's time to let go. After entering, I looked at the cozy little home I had decorated bit by bit, and tears welled up uncontrollably again. I started packing my things, sobbing as I went. By the time I finished packing, it was around 11 p.m. It was hard to get a ride late at night. I waited for almost an hour outside the apartment before I finally managed to hail a ride. Once inside, I leaned against the window, watching the scenery pass by. Suddenly, a chill ran down my spine. I looked up and met the driver's eyes in the rearview mirror. He gave a leering smile. "Pretty lady, just getting off work?" His eyebrows subtly twitched, and his eyes scrutinized me up and down. "Pretty lady, for someone like you. How much for a house call? Is that your gear in the suitcase? How about we grab a late-night snack?" News reports of people being harmed while taking taxis late at night flashed through my mind. Just as I was about to send a text message for help, the car turned into a dead end. My hands were trembling so much I could barely hold my phone. In a panic, I pressed the power button several times to call my emergency contact. The call was hung up as soon as it connected. Ethan probably thought I was calling to beg him to get back together and deliberately hung up on me. Watching the car reach the farthest end of the alley, the driver began to brake. I quickly unlatched my seatbelt, opened the car door, and rushed out. My body, exhausted from the day, suddenly failed me. The moment I rushed out of the car, everything went black. My legs gave out, and I collapsed to the ground. The driver got out of the car, initially eager to chase me, but seeing my state, his smile grew even more lewd. "Is little sister playing hard to get? Or do you prefer outdoor scenes?" A surge of strength came from somewhere deep within me. I grabbed a rock nearby and threw it. The rock hit the driver hard in the groin. He cried out in pain, clutching himself as he doubled over. I scrambled to my feet and ran. At that moment, the call I had been trying to make on my phone finally connected. "Grace, if you're calling to make up." I cut him off while running. "Ethan, help me, 13 Maple Street. Hurry, call the police. Hurry." "What? Don't panic. Find somewhere to hide. I'll call the police right away." As soon as he finished speaking, my phone completely shut down. I quickly crawled into a trash can to hide. The driver's heavy footsteps approached. "Humph. Hitting me. Ha. When I catch you in a minute, you'll see what I do to you." I shivered in the trash can, praying Ethan and the police would arrive quickly. The cans beside me were opened one by one and then closed, and my heart was pounding in my throat. I suddenly looked up, and the driver was glaring at me fiercely. "Found you." He grabbed my collar and yanked me out. I was choking, weakly clawing at his hands. Despair had reached its peak in my heart. My ears had begun to ring, and my mind felt fuzzy. A flashlight beam cut through the darkness. "Who's there?" The driver clamped his hand over my mouth. He stood up, trying to drag me into the car. I bit him hard, and with all my might, I tried to yell, "Help! Help me! Oomph! Stop!" The man with the flashlight ran towards us. The driver quickly dropped me and fled into the narrow alley. The paths twisted and turned, and the driver soon disappeared from sight. I crouched on the spot, hugging my knees and crying, my body trembling slightly from fear. The man walked over and draped his down jacket over me. "Do you want to call the police?" he asked. "If you don't want this to become public knowledge, I can pretend I know nothing." I shook my head. "I want to call the police, even if I hadn't been harmed. I couldn't just let a bad person get away with it and go after other girls." After the man called the police, officers quickly arrived at the scene. It was only then that I learned the police department was just a 5-minute drive away. If that was the case, why hadn't the police arrived sooner? After I'd been calling Ethan for so long, I felt a flicker of doubt. However, that doubt didn't linger for long. After I gave my statement, Lucas, the man who saved me, accompanied me to the hospital to examine my injuries and get an injury assessment report. As I was waiting in line, I saw Ethan half carrying Chloe, walking towards us. Seeing me, Ethan pointed at my nose and started yelling, "Where the hell have you been? I called you so many times, and you didn't pick up." Chloe had a high fever in the middle of the night. "I thought you could come to the hospital with us and help take care of her, but I couldn't get a hold of you no matter what. How could you be so petty?" My heart plummeted into an icy abyss. "Ethan, aren't you going to ask why I'm here? Did you even call the police for me?" Ethan froze for a moment. "Call the police?" He slapped his forehead. "I forgot. I'm sorry." Chloe had such a high fever at the time she couldn't even stand up, and I was rushing her to the hospital. Do you even know? I burst into tears. Is my life less important than Chloe's fever? Lucas couldn't help but stand up from the bench. I've never seen such a shameless scumbag. What? Do you even realize? If I hadn't found her today, your girlfriend might not be standing here right now, but lying here? While she was being choked. You were with another woman, and now you're saying you forgot? Is your girlfriend's life less important than your friend's fever? I had completely given up on Ethan. I took a deep breath. Ethan. Chloe. Let's go our separate ways from now on. Don't contact me again. Ethan saw how serious I was. For the first time, he was utterly flustered in front of me. Grace. I thought you could hide for a bit. I planned to call the police for you after I got to the hospital. But, I'm sorry. I forgot. I won't do it again. Please, don't break up with me, okay? Are you going to keep a man like that around for decoration? Sister, listen to me. Break up with him. Ethan raged. Who are you? This is none of your business. Why are you spouting off sarcastic remarks? Lucas raised an eyebrow. Her life was saved by me. I simply don't want to see her treated with such contempt. Is that a problem? Ethan, who had been a bit flustered, became emotionally agitated after hearing Lucas's words. He stepped forward and grabbed my hand. You still love me, don't you? This guy is just trying to make me jealous, right? Including what happened to you today. I slapped him. Ethan, do you think I'm as disgusting as you are? Lucas took my hand. Come on. Standing next to them, I feel like I'm covered in a foul stench. He led me out of the hospital. As soon as we stepped outside, I crouched on the ground and burst into tears. 3 years. Even a dog would develop feelings after 3 years. Let alone me, who had truly loved him. After I finished crying, I wiped my tears and stood up, thanking Lucas. I'm sorry you had to witness such a spectacle, but thank you, really. If it weren't for you, I might not be standing here now. What are you going to do now? I have a feeling that guy will continue to bother you. I gave a bitter smile. It's come to this. No need to dwell on it. After today's cry, I've decided to completely let go. Lucas patted my shoulder. That's the spirit. Everyone encounters a few scumbags in life. As long as you can come to terms with it, your future days will be a new beginning. When I got home that day, I didn't tell David and Martha about what happened with the driver, fearing they would worry. Life soon returned to normal. After letting go of a 3-year relationship, I suddenly found myself feeling incredibly light and free. In the mornings, I didn't have to wake up early to cook for Ethan, didn't have to clean up after 2 people, and didn't have to consider Ethan's taste when eating. I could cry, laugh, or be as dramatic as I wanted, and no one would shoot down my enthusiasm. Ethan and Chloe truly seemed to have completely vanished from my life. The fleeing driver was quickly apprehended, ultimately sentenced to 3 years, and ordered to compensate me for medical expenses and emotional distress. David and Martha eventually found out about it. Martha anxiously held my hand, scrutinizing me up and down. Seeing I was all right, she slapped me on the butt. You didn't tell David and me about something this big? Are you trying to scare us to death? David pounded the coffee table. I told you that kid was unreliable. Break it off. Completely and soon. I nodded. David, don't worry. I haven't been in contact with him for a long time. David and Martha's care made me feel warm. I had experienced so much coldness and sarcasm from Ethan that I almost forgot I was once someone else's cherished darling. After learning that Lucas had saved me, David and Martha insisted I contact him and treat him to a meal. Lucas readily agreed. At the dinner table, Lucas and David and Martha had a very pleasant conversation. David and Martha probably sensed Lucas's feelings for me and were very impressed with him, so they proactively suggested Lucas and I, as the younger ones, go for a walk to digest our food. It was the first time, outside of David and Martha, that I felt noticed and liked. The weather was a bit cold, and after walking for a while, I unconsciously started to shiver. But the clothes I was wearing today had no pockets, so I could only curl my hands and tuck them deep into my sleeves. Seeing this, Lucas, without a word, handed me his gloves, fearing I wouldn't accept. He joked, "Go on, put them on quickly." We walked and chatted. Being with him felt effortless because he always understood what I was trying to say, kept the conversation going, never shot down my enthusiasm, and never found me annoying. Whether crossing the street or just walking, he habitually made sure I walked on the inside, carefully minding passing pedestrians. This was a sense of protectiveness I had never felt from Ethan. I no longer resisted being with him. After that, he often asked me out to dinner or to explore places. We went to the amusement park I had always wanted to visit, riding the carousel, roller coaster, bungee jumping, and the pirate ship. He didn't find me childish at all. Instead, he praised me as a bold and childlike girl. Although we had only known each other for 3 months, I felt those 3 months were happier than the previous 3 years combined. This happiness stemmed not only from my renewed love for life but also from the person by my side. After we returned from our trip, Lucas walked me downstairs. "Grace, next weekend, I'd like to take you to the bistro for dinner. You absolutely have to come." My face flushed because everyone local knew the bistro was a famous romantic spot for couples. In the past, I had begged Ethan to take me, but he always refused, saying, "What's so great about that place? We can live our lives just fine without making a show of ourselves there." But later, I found out Ethan had taken Chloe there more than once after we broke up. But none of that mattered to me anymore. I nodded at him. "Okay." Then I quickly walked into the building. "Yes." Lucas's happy voice came from behind me. I leaned against the elevator wall, feeling an inexpressible sweetness in my heart. I think I had genuinely fallen for him. As soon as I stepped off the elevator, David's angry voice reached my ears. "Get out! You're not welcome in our home." I quickly ran over, only to see Ethan standing at my doorstep, holding gifts, shouting, "Grace, I know I was wrong. I've come to apologize. Please, give me a chance, okay? I promise. Chloe and I have completely cut ties, and from now on." I walked over and cut him off. "Ethan, just leave. There is no us in the future, and if there is a future, it'll be with someone else." Seeing me, Ethan dropped the gifts he was holding and rushed towards me. "Grace, I'm sorry. I didn't know you were in so much danger then." "If I had known," I sidestepped, "and he missed me. If you had known, you still would have taken Chloe to the hospital first. After all, she's the one you cherished above all else. Isn't she?" Ethan cried and shook his head. "No, Grace." I grew impatient. "What exactly do you want from me today? Did you have an argument with Chloe? Or are you here to give me a wedding invitation? Whatever it is, your affairs stopped being relevant to me a long time ago. Please leave and don't come looking for me again." Ethan shook his head. "No, Chloe and I have broken up. I initiated it." I was amused. Seems a man's words truly can't be trusted. Your forever only lasted 2 months? What's wrong? Wasn't she the one you couldn't have? Now that you have her, why aren't you cherishing her? Ethan clenched his fists. "Grace, you can insult me however you want, but I came today just to tell you this. For the past 2 months, I've missed you terribly. I realized that no matter what I do, your image keeps appearing in my mind. Grace, I think I've fallen in love with you. Can you give me another chance? I promise this time I'll put you first in everything and wholeheartedly cherish you." I sneered. "But I've already fallen for someone else." "Ethan, I told you long ago. I've completely let go of you." "I don't believe it. How could you fall for someone else?" "Break up." "I never agreed to a breakup. I'll just consider this your way of taking revenge on me, and we'll call it even. Let's live a good life together from now on, okay?" "I don't need your permission," I said, turning to him. "And your words are truly disgusting. Also, do you really think you're that important? Revenge on you? Are you worthy?" I ignored him, walked around him, and continued forward. But, who had once been too proud to ever try to appease me, now seemed like a different person. "Grace, I truly know I was wrong. I promise I'll keep my distance from Chloe from now on. If you just say yes, I'll immediately block all her contact information everywhere online." I turned back. "Sorry, I don't collect trash." After I said that, Ethan indeed didn't follow me. Not even 2 days later, Chloe actually came to block my way downstairs from my office building. "Grace, you and Ethan broke up, so why can't you stay away from him? Are you that desperate? That starved for a man? No wonder that driver didn't harm anyone else but you. I bet you seduced him and are just too embarrassed to admit it." Chloe's malice was utterly undisguised. Spewing directly at me, her shrill voice attracted quite a few people getting off work to gather and watch. I was initially too lazy to listen to them barking like dogs, but that last remark made me stop. "What do you mean the driver didn't harm anyone else but me? This is a case already settled by the court, and you're here questioning me? Or are you just victim blaming? Get it straight, this happened in winter, and I was wearing thick clothes. How exactly would I seduce him? with my brightly colored down jacket. Some people around us chuckled. Chloe, I've realized you only have a bit of intelligence when it comes to seducing men. Other times, you're genuinely brainless. I'm even starting to wonder if I had an intelligence problem for ever being your best friend. You, Grace. How dare you say that to me? Ethan, are you dead? Can't you see your girlfriend being verbally assaulted right in front of you? Ethan frowned, looking utterly impatient. I think Grace isn't wrong. It's your fault. You should apologize to Grace. Can you please stop making a scene for no reason? Ethan's attitude completely ignited Chloe's fury. She stomped her foot, pointed at me, and began to yell. Grace, you're absolutely shameless. You and Ethan broke up 2 months ago, and you still have the nerve to seduce him? I really underestimated you before. And, don't you forget how you used to make advances toward me when you were still with Grace. You're truly despicable, always wanting what you can't have. It was true then, and it's true now. People around us gasped. So, he cheated on his ex-girlfriend, then got together with the other woman after breaking up, and now he's trying to pursue his ex-girlfriend again? This guy's got a wild heart. How the mocking laughter from the crowd made Ethan instantly furious. He raised his hand and harshly slapped Chloe. No wonder your ex-boyfriend would rather find a scheming manipulative woman than stay with you. You're always flirting around with men. Who could stand you? If you hadn't interfered, Grace and I would have been married long ago. It's all your fault. You vixen. The two started fighting in the street. Some onlookers wanted to intervene but were stopped by the people next to them. These two clearly aren't the grateful type. Be careful. You might try to help and end up getting dragged into trouble. In the end, security guards forcibly subdued them and called the police. I didn't much care what punishment they would receive. I quickly hailed a cab and went to the bistro. Lucas was already waiting for me at the entrance. Today, he was dressed very formally. A sharp suit made his figure appear even taller and more elegant. Seeing me, he took 2 steps forward and handed me the roses in his hand. Grace, thank you for honoring me with your presence. I gave a shy smile and accepted the flowers. He took my hand and walked into the restaurant. But's voice, lingering like a ghost, rang out from behind us. Grace, so you're dating this man just for this? If you want to go, I can take you too. Just come back and give me a chance, and I'll show you I'm 1,000 times better than this guy. The romantic atmosphere was shattered. I rolled my eyes, shoved the roses into Lucas's hand, and turned to walk toward Ethan. Ethan's face lit up with a hopeful smile. You should have said it was for this earlier. I remember you mentioned it several times before, but it's fine. I'll bring you here often from now on. I walked up and gave his idiotic face a resounding slap. Ethan, who gave you the confidence to bark like that? Come back? I'm not a dog that goes back to its trash. You're a piece of trash, so you should stay quietly in the restroom, with other garbage. Not come to a restaurant entrance to disgust people. 1,000 times better? Who gave you that confidence? Chloe? Or is it just you, the overly confident man? Ethan was stunned by my slap, looking at me with an expression of disbelief. Yes, I did love you once. I even thought about spending my life with you. But what did you do? You complained my cooking was bad, belittled the breakfast pastries I made early in the morning as worthless in front of me, and then threw them in the trash can, saying even dogs wouldn't eat them. You never cleaned, yet you nitpicked whenever I did, saying I wasn't womanly enough. When we went out to eat, it was always extremely spicy, even when I had the stomach flu. You took me for a super spicy meal and called me dramatic. I looked at him. When I loved you, you treated my feelings with contempt. Getting entangled with Chloe, now you come running back to say you love me? I'm sorry. It's too late, because I stopped loving you a long time ago. Ethan cried and knelt on the ground. Grace, I'm sorry. I was blinded by Chloe when I treated you that way. I've seen her true colors now, and I promise it will never happen again. Please, give me a chance. I didn't spare him another glance and turned to walk towards Lucas. Lucas handed me the flowers, then ran over and quickly landed 2 solid punches on Ethan. Ethan, not only did you cheat, but you constantly subjected Grace to emotional abuse and suppressed her. You're utterly inhuman. These 2 punches today are for Grace, a small revenge, and a warning, don't ever come looking for Grace again. If I see you one more time, I'll smash your head in. With that, Lucas took my hand and led me into the restaurant. We didn't speak for a long time. The original atmosphere had completely dissipated due to Ethan's antics. I spoke softly. I'm sorry. I didn't know he would show up. Lucas squeezed my hand. It's not your fault. Blame that utterly shameless scumbag. Giving him just 2 punches back there was letting him off too easily. I feel like I didn't get enough hits in. He always knew how to make me laugh. I burst out laughing. When I finished laughing, he looked at me solemnly. Grace, you don't actually have to be so careful all the time. You can be a bit more assertive. I like your small quirks, and I like it when you're coy. With me, you can completely be yourself. You don't need to cater to me, and you certainly don't need to constantly guess my thoughts. I'm not some chauvinist. If I ever do something wrong or poorly, you can tell me directly. I'll seriously correct it. So, would you be willing to give me a chance and let me be your boyfriend? My face flushed. After a long moment, I spoke. What if I get into an argument with your friends later? Whose side will you take? Anyone who argues with my partner is my enemy. What if we argue? I won't argue with you. If we have disagreements, we'll communicate and resolve them. Unless, he chuckled, unless you think arguing is a playful dynamic. I kicked him lightly under the table. Talk properly. Then, if Martha and I both fell into the water at the same time, who would you save first? He tapped my forehead. Don't worry. I won't let you and Martha be near water at the same time. You're certainly good at giving me questions. Let me give you a few to test you. A year later, I once again found myself in front of the county's office. Harold, the old man at the entrance, actually remembered me. Girl, is it still the same one from last time? I shook my head. Harold, I found someone much better this time. Just then, Lucas came running over with a hot coffee and 2 breakfast pastries. Grace, have a little something to tide you over first. Once we get our marriage license, I'll take you out for a fancy dinner. Harold chuckled. Oh, you're with this young man? He's been here since early this morning. Girl, if you ask Harold, you've definitely found the right one this time. Lucas held my hand, and witnessed by the staff, we exchanged our solemn vows. Later, Lucas prepared a dream wedding for me. In the hotel waiting area, I actually saw Ethan again. I was surprised. Ever since Ethan tried to get back together with me at the bistro, that video had spread all over the internet. Ethan was utterly humiliated publicly. Later, I heard he lost his job, and his landlord even refused to rent to such a scumbag. Ethan hadn't appeared since then. I had always thought he'd gone back to his hometown, so I was surprised he knew about my marriage and had tracked me down. He looked at me in my wedding dress, his eyes holding an undeniable look of astonishment. Ethan, do you need something? If you're here to offer your congratulations, I'll accept them. But if you're here for anything else, please leave. Ethan's eyes were filled with pain. Grace, you're only with him to satisfy your David and Martha. Just settling, right? Otherwise, how could you get married so quickly? Grace, do you still have feelings for me? Just nod, and I'll take you away immediately. This time, I won't stand you up again. I cut him off. Ethan, I told you, I stopped loving you a long time ago. Impossible, he roared. How could you just let go of 3 years of our relationship? I smiled faintly. You know what? Even though we've only been together for 1 short year, I feel happier in this past year than I ever was in the 3 years with you. Perhaps that's why I chose him. He's always unconditionally by my side. Ethan gave a desolate smile. I'm sorry, Grace, but still, I wish you a happy marriage. I nodded, and the large doors in front of me opened. Lucas, dressed in a white suit, walked towards me and firmly took my hand. This feeling of being cherished and cared for from beginning to end brought tears to my eyes. Why are you crying? Is something wrong? Lucas whispered. I shook my head. No, I just realized I love you a little more today than yesterday. After the wedding, Lucas and I went to the Maldives for our honeymoon. It wasn't until after returning back home that I discovered a shocking and heinous case had occurred there during our trip. The people involved were actually all my acquaintances. Apparently, after Ethan and I broke up, he immediately got together with Chloe. They had a good time for a while, but soon, conflicts erupted between them. Chloe was constantly entangled with her ex-boyfriend Kevin, and as a result, she and Ethan frequently got into fights. Later, when Ethan tried to get back together with me, it infuriated Chloe even more. In a fit of rage, she invited Kevin to their place, and was caught red-handed. Ethan completely lost it and stabbed Kevin multiple times with a knife. After the murder, Ethan put the body in a bag, packed it in a moving box, and transported it with other belongings to his hometown. Chloe, afraid she would be killed too, obediently followed him. Afterward, to get revenge on Chloe, Ethan confined her in the basement and abused her. By the time she was released, Chloe was already insane. When came to my wedding, he had brought a suitcase and ropes. He had originally intended to tie me up and take me away, but in the end, for some reason, he didn't go through with it. After returning from the wedding, Ethan killed Chloe, and then, on a deserted night, he jumped into the river and ended his own life. Thank you for watching this video. If you have any thoughts about this story, feel free to share them in the comments section. Here is Roses and Love, sharing stories about marriage and women every day. See you tomorrow.